Hello, everyone. This is part 2 of episode 25 of Uncommon Conversations. And I'm about to have Kevin Kelly back on. We were just in the middle of a wonderful discussion. There we are.
There we
We
go.
got it.
Can you hear me?
And yeah, I can hear you. I
Yeah,
can
I
hear you
had
fine.
someone trying to FaceTime me. So
Oh, okay.
as I was saying, so growing up, like I said, I had this resentment, and I never wanted anything to do with politics, with the system, and like all of it, down to like not even getting a bank account, dude. Like I wouldn't even trust him with my money. And so now after, like I said, holding myself accountable and realizing that like I have actually become part of the problem. The whole problem that I sit around complaining about and pointing my fingers at, I have become part of it. I've done nothing to become a part of the solution up until, just recently. And so now it's kind of like I'm slowly starting to put an ear to like what's going on out there, paying attention to what you guys are saying. Every once in a while, someone will bring some stuff up online, and I'll slowly, it's like I'm real apprehensive to what I fill my ears with, especially coming to Christ, because so much evil is spewed through media, dude, that I'm like over it. I don't want to hear it no more. I know what media did to me, so I know what it can do to anybody it chooses to smash. And it's like one day someone's awesome and they're a savior, and the next day they're hating on them. And so it's so wishy-washy that it just goes with whatever the trend is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I still am a little bit apprehensive, but that's why it's so crucial to have authentic people talking about this stuff and just being raw, man. Like, be real.
Yeah.
That's what's missing. Is like
Yeah.
people. You've heard Jack Nicholson say it. You want the truth, you can't handle the truth. Like we all
Yeah.
want the truth, but it's true. A lot of people just can't handle the truth and what's really going on. And so
Yeah.
instead of doing that, we like serve it up with a side of isn't this pretty, and then a little bit of BS and a little, you know what I mean? And it's just like it's become like, yeah, all right,
Man,
whatever.
dude, you're dropping it. You're dropping it like it's hot, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
And now,
thank
so
you.
now, Jordan, now it's like, okay, what do I believe? How do I know what to believe?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but I'm
Yeah, and it's
trying.
like and then there's issues like I mean, like with lots of these things, it's a learning process, and there's philosophy, and there's all sorts of things you got to sort of weigh and ask. But it's interesting what you said. Like to me, when I hear a 9-year-old got arrested, like to me that tells me the system failed you,
Yeah.
and that tells me like if you think about any 9-year-old that got arrested, you don't have to think about it for yourself. Sometimes that'll like kind of color the way you think about it. You
Distorted.
think about
Yeah.
some 9-year-old out there in their situation, allegedly the government was already helping you, right? Giving you your family welfare and like being involved in all these ways. And what's interesting and so like the left will say these people need this help, therefore it's good to keep giving it to them. And the right will say, well, if you give people stuff only when they're sort of doing the wrong things or making mistakes or having a hard time in life, you're creating a poor incentive. And so it's interesting. I'm over here like I actually see our welfare system in part as a victimizing system because it doesn't actually help people get out of poverty. Poverty's
Holds you
only gotten
down.
like worse or the same.
Yep.
It holds you down. It keeps you there. It's not like you
It
go
keeps you
out there.
alive. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Yep.
all it
That's
does.
it.
Jordan, hold on 1 second, my brother, okay?
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, sorry, someone open the door. Is that okay, or should I ring the bell? I'm in trouble, huh? I'm in big trouble. I'm like literally doing a podcast right now. Sorry. How you doing? Okay. How you guys? I'm coming in for right now, and then I'm gonna leave in like 10 minutes. So, and I apologize for the inconvenience. Please stay on the line. Your call is very important to us.
Sounds good. Right on. So yeah, dude, I'm enjoying having this conversation very much.
Likewise.
He really laid it down there. I'm just going to be talking to the people listening, and so just to fill the airspace. So no need. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Are you back?
Yeah, there's like a process of when you walk into this specific transitional home that you get patted down and checked for any paraphernalia, contraband, etc.
Makes sense.
For the
Makes sense.
safety of myself and those around me.
Yeah. For, yes. That's funny, man. Um, well,
All
yeah.
right.
So anyway, so when I hear like a 9-year-old got arrested and you sort of rightfully understood the enemy, but yeah, you wrongfully understood like how to respond to the enemy. Like when you say like, is the government our enemy? If the government's doing its job, it's our friend. If the government isn't doing its job and it's corrupt and it's selling us out and enriching itself, it is the enemy.
Yeah.
You know, it's 100% on them whether or not they're so I think like they are in some sense. Like if they're not doing their job, if you're not like the fact that we're spending $600,000 a home in California and not actually helping people's lives materially change, like that just shows you the system doesn't like to me if I was doing something and it wasn't working,
Yeah.
I'd have to change the way I'm doing it because I
Yeah.
care about getting the thing done. But they would be happy to just keep throwing money and program after program and year after year, and nothing
Easy.
changes, and sometimes things get worse.
You know, they say nothing changes if nothing changes, bro.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, it's such a simple
Absolutely.
slogan, but it's true. Um, so instead of like, man, you're making me think so much. So instead of thinking that like here's some money to put you in a house, like you said, teach them how to fish, teach
Yeah.
them like all of these skills, how to cope with depression, how to cope with addiction, how to like give them tools to cope with all of this stuff that life throws at you. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
instead of uh, it's kind of like it makes me think of a couple of good friends of mine. They're like, man, my parents were never around. All they did, they would buy me stuff. They would, you know, their love was through the dollar, and it was like, here, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
But there was never any like solution. And it's funny because they wound up in the same detox I was at. They wound up in the same prison I was at. All as a result of here. Let's just give some money. It doesn't
Yep.
work because you got to work
Yep.
on what's going on in here, man. You got to work
Yep.
on whatever has them on the street, thinking that they're not worth anything more, and you got to break that cycle. And you know, like being a Christian and stuff. Ultimately, the answer for me, dog. I don't care what anybody says now. And before, if I heard me saying that, I'd be like, he's a pansy. Who is that dude? Right? But the answer is love, Jordan. Like it really is. It's to like love, love, love. If you love
Yep.
somebody, you don't cause them harm. You don't have an ulterior motive. Your motive isn't to line your pockets selfishly. Like it's all comes down to that right there. And I hate to sound corny and I hate to sound Beatleish. All you need is love, love. But it's
Yeah.
true, man. It's what it is.
No, I can absolutely say I 100% agree with that.
You know,
What makes certain things in your life happen for the better is often love. The little things that tend to come together in certain ways, if you think about it, it's often love. Like what what I mean, honestly, like so I was a big Harry Potter fan, and I read him a bunch of times, listened to the audiobooks a bunch of times, and Dumbledore says, like in many ways, like the superpower that Harry Potter had was love, and it's more so, it's not so much that people understand what the power of love is; it's understanding the weakness of being without love.
uh,
It's understanding the absence of love and understanding what happens when love leaves that
yeah,
allows you to recognize the power of it. It's not love is not going to be out there giving you a trophy or hitting first place or anything like that. It's about the connection. It's about the authenticity in the soul. And like the only way someone is helped through this life is when one person who's gone through it is there saying, this is what I saw, this is what I dealt with, this is what I struggled with. There might be some parallels and maybe you'll learn something from that. And
yeah,
like that's what parenting is in some sense. Like that's what that investment, that proper investment from your parents from the beginning all the way up is. And I think that there's a big issue when you have a lack of a father in the home or a lack of a male uh, whether it's a young man or a young woman being raised, but especially when it's, you know, a young boy,
Yeah.
when you don't have a man or a male natural sort of authority figure there for you to trust in, it teaches you to not trust in authority figures. And so you have this sort of, I think with a lot of people of single parent households, they have this immediate like they're burned by the system. They're burned by the world because like it just didn't quite work out. And it's not even like a conscious thing. Like when I was a teenager, I never let myself have excuses. Like my mom was in the hospital on the brink of death. And I'm like, there's people out there that have it worse. Like I would not even let myself sometimes emotionally process what I should have.
Yeah.
And so you, on some level, you have to let yourself do that. You have to realize like even if you're choosing to live to a high order thing, your body and your emotions and everything are going to feel this thing. You're going to deal with this reality of being a human, and it doesn't make you dirty or anything. It's just, it is what it is. Your nature is your nature, and we can go above it. But you can't. And so like that's where the love and the acceptance comes, even with that. Like your nature isn't necessarily good or bad, and so you should love everyone and love people for that. But we all also have to be oriented towards the good. You got to recognize not everyone is. You know, you're talking about which media sources or like which people to trust or which people are real or not. That is the ultimate question, man, because there are plenty of people that aren't oriented towards the ultimate good. And a lot of the people that are the loudest mouthpieces about being about what's good it's a facade. It's fake. It's to disguise and distract you from other stuff. You know, the pastor who cheats on his wife, right? That standard. You know,
Takes all
the
the
one
money.
hot chick at the church shows up and he's no longer a man of God. Like, you know, that's a standard story. So,
and that's a whole nother
avenue.
So we could go, man. That one there is like a 4-hour discussion, or maybe even 4 days. You know,
for sure,
like,
man.
all right,
For
we
sure.
gotta take a break, dude.
For sure, man. Yeah. No, I'm that way, man. I'm always sort of like jumping off into every little thing, and but I love it. So what? So you said you're sort of making shit happen now. You're about serving and taking action. So what can we, as people who I was just incarcerated for like 12 hours in a county jail. Like it was like I'm barely I only even want to mention it just to say technically I have been incarcerated.
You were,
technically.
Hey, some people only need 12 hours.
No, trust me, that was enough. That was enough. It wasn't nearly what most people deal with, and it was enough for me. But for everyone who has never been in there and seen what it's like to be in there, what can we all do on the outside to help those that are within? Because at the end of the day, they're still souls. They're still children of God. And yeah, maybe some of them are evil. I'm not going to pretend like some of them aren't evil. Some of them actually are there for the right reasons and should be there. But for the people that are in the in-between, the obvious evil people and the people on the outside, the people in between that, what do we do to help them?
Well, number one, bro, our best weapon against anything is prayer, dude. Always pray for those in prison, dog. You know, like I said, we have all, I don't care who you are, what human being you are, you've made a choice that you are not proud of, right? We've all made a choice somewhere along the line where we were like, man, I wish I could take that back. And majority of the men inside are in just that state of mind where they're like, I wish I could take that back. And unfortunately, nobody, as far as I know, unless you know somebody, has created and invented a time machine. So none of us are able to go back and take back the mistakes that we've made. The problem is I think as society, like people who don't really understand incarceration, that don't really understand that lifestyle, that a lot of us were just born into it. Like my whole family, not my whole family, but a few of my uncles lived criminal lifestyles. Like it was common. It's common. All the people I grew up with have been arrested. at least 5 times, if not a whole bunch more. Like there was just a regular thing. So I think support, man, like, and I'm not talking about packages. I'm talking like just support. Let them know that they're welcomed back into society when they come out. Because here's the problem. I'll give you a little example. So I come out, when I'm in there, here's the reward system. It's totally backwards. I go into jail. Now I'm a kid that came from a super broken home. Like it just was a really bad situation. All of a sudden, I get into trouble, and the first time in juvenile hall, I'm given clean clothes, a bed, a blanket, 3 meals a day. I don't have to go steal food to eat. Like 5 kids plus all our friends. My mother's food stamps were gone, bro. There was no food in the house like a week later. So we go to food pantries and stuff like that, but it goes so fast. We were always without food in the house. Not to knock my mom or anything. God bless her. God rest her soul. Whatever. She knows exactly. So the problem is I will go to jail and there's this reward. I'm getting a job. They give me a block job. They give me this. They give me that. And I'm treated like a human. I'm getting respect. The second I come out, I go to get jobs. I go to reach out for help, and people are exactly pointing their finger at me and trying to hold up my record in my face. And it's like, where's the welcome? So now here's the problem.
Where's the forgiveness?
Where's the forgiveness, for one? But where's the, I got you. Where's the support from this community? You say community. Just the word itself tells you we're all in this together, right? But we're not,
Yep.
because when we come out, right, we got ankle monitors, we got whatever the state tags on us to hold us back. And then we got people saying, I'm good with that. Nope, he's not welcome here. And so what happens is now I'm left to fend for myself in the only way that I know. And I go back and I reoffend. So if I'm a guy who robs people at gunpoint at night, here I go. I basically, if I'm the guy that just turned me away, say I'm the business that told the guy that does the stick-ups no. I'm responsible now for the woman that he goes and robs and accidentally shoots. Does that make sense? You're like, no, that don't make no sense. So if I turn this guy away, I'm not saying I'm responsible like I told him to go rob somebody, but I'm telling you basically, I'm not leaving him options. There's no welcome there. And it's not
Okay. Sorry, it took me a second. I had a few other things that what you were saying made me think of, and like my brain just would not churn it all through. So
okay.
yeah, no, I get what you mean. Okay,
You get what
I'm
I'm
caught
saying?
up now.
So not to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that like, oh, it's his fault because he should have gave him a job. No. But we should be, if we're in this together, we shouldn't be tagging each other's pasts on each other's backs and holding each other back, because now I'm just becoming part of the problem. Because when I slam a door in someone's face and they go and commit a crime that hurts another person who did not have that coming, I'm kind of responsible for it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not directly responsible. I didn't put a gun to the man's head to go put a gun to the woman's head, but
Mm-hmm.
I slammed the opportunity shut on account of what he's done in the past. I'm telling him he can't change, and that I'm not even going to give him the chance anyway, because I got other people I can hire.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I
No,
don't know.
that's so important. So yeah, so I think you touched on it. Like, yeah, pray for them and have support for them, like in the way you can from the outside, and then yeah, when they come out,
That's the
welcome
part.
them out and be like, we're going to bring you back into society. You did the time. You paid your dues to society. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to come out and to just rejoin society. And
And there's
it's true. So so whenever I talk about broader order issues and sort of things that have happened in our society, the path of young men will sort of it'll diverge. It'll split off at one critical point in their youth. Do you follow the path of being a citizen where you're productive and you have opportunity and you see success there? Or do you take the path of a criminal, a degenerate in society or whatever, and that's your path to success? Because the thing is, we care about the success. And so like you said, if you come back out and the only opportunities you have are the old life that's going to get you back in jail, and the other opportunities are now out of your reach, or you feel like they're out of your reach, I mean, it makes sense for someone in that position to be like, I gotta eat, I gotta survive, and I only have X number of skills. I've only learned to do this, that, and the other thing. So unless I'm put in a different direction and put on the right path, like that's just kind of that's how it's gonna be. So yeah, like is the one person guilty? No, but are we collectively all guilty because we're not handling this? I think so, and we could say like
So
we gotta have the safety net there for the kids that fall through the cracks. And we got
exactly.
to understand it's going to happen. And so
Yep.
you talked about, so it's interesting. This is where I'm different than many other people politically. Because like the idea of a universal basic income or giving everyone money is like crazy and taboo. But the main thing people say about capitalism is like poor people can't get what they need in a capitalist system. When you don't have money, you don't have access to stuff in a capitalist system. So the issue is people not having those resources. When you're poor and you don't have any resources and there's no welfare system or whatever, you got to go and find a job and better your life in order to better your life. When you have that welfare system that comes in place and it says, if you just stay in this crappy house, stay in this crappy neighborhood, keep
Stay
making
out of
money
the
in this
way.
crappy job, we'll make sure you're okay and taken care of. You
Yep.
won't get better, but you won't get worse.
Yep.
A different path is if everyone gets a base level of resources, whatever you do, meaning wherever you live, whatever job you have, however much money you have, it's just like we all get it, regardless of your behavior, as long as you're on the outside, regardless of behavior, you get this help. And for me, it would be like at the California level, it'd be $250 a month per Californian adult. Now you're in a position where you have a little bit more resources to deal with, but everything about life is the same. Right? You still have to go get that job to better your life. You still got to move out of that area to better your life. And there's no government official saying, so here's where it gets real. There's no government official saying, we're going to take away your kids' health care because you got a better job.
Right.
But that's the way it works now. Blue Cross, Blue Shield, or whatever, like public welfare healthcare programs, Medicare and stuff. If you get enough success, they'll take that from you. And so literally, like your kids can lose their health care because you're bettering yourself. That's how messed up the current system is. So if you had this alternative system where you get the help regardless of what you're doing, then it's about all those other things. Do you get the opportunity? Are you an addict? Are we helping you with your addiction? You know, all those things. So I think we need some level of, so I think it's funny. The answer is just give the people a little bit of money. Because everything else about life stays the same. But once the government's like, well, we're going to tell you how to act and we're going to control how you act, then they can force people to make the wrong choice or incentivize people to make the wrong choice. So I think everything about the skills and the lessons of being a productive member of society and everything you sort of talked about is all true. I just think that the welfare system doesn't have to work against that. It does now, but not all versions of a welfare system would necessarily work against that. So, like if you had an extra $250 a month in your bank account magically for no reason, and that there's no one telling you to do anything, everything about your life is the same except for you got a little bit of extra resources to work with starting off.
Yep.
And that's it.
And,
You know, so that's the kind of program I support. I think that kind of thing could work. And there's a more like if you had that, and then because sometimes with welfare you don't need help with your month-to-month bills. You get a surgery or or a car accident or you lose your job, so you need a lot of money. You could take that $250 a month and turn it into like a guaranteed income loan thing where like it's going to get paid off, right? The money's coming in no matter what. So someone else can loan you that money and use that guaranteed income coming in for you to pay off the loan. So you don't have to worry about the loan. And so like if it was $250 a month at 5% interest, that would work out to like a $30,000 loan you could get when you need it. Now, what's cool is this. Everyone knows that everyone else in California is getting that program and has access to that money, which means if you're fucking around with it, like, sorry for the language, but if you're fucking around with it, that's on you. That's on you. You're still responsible as an individual, and your choices are still what determines your success. So,
wait, so
it's
that's really happening?
no. That's what I want to make happen. That's not happening. This is my own thing. This is my own idea, my own program.
Hold on one sec. Yeah. So sorry, I'm in the bathroom.
So yeah. So no. So this is so many of the things. The only reason why I'm here doing this, and maybe I probably should have been doing this political conversation stuff before I, had all these ideas or whatever. But what I just talked to you about, that like savings, interest, and loan thing. So like the $250 a month could be loaned between all the people. So like I could give you $250, or say I had like, for the last year I've been saving up that money, so I have $3,000 in the bank. I could loan that to you at any given time, at that 5% interest, and then your thing automatically pays it back. So it's so so I don't know where I was going with that, but so it's a little complicated, and like you have this thing, but my only point was that type of an idea, that savings, interest, and loan system, and leverageable guaranteed income, and all that. That's all me.
Okay.
I didn't hear a single bit of that from anyone else. None of that. Like I haven't heard about anything close to that from anyone else. Like the normal discussion is, welfare is bad. No, welfare is good. Oh, maybe we should have a UBI. Like that's where sort of the broad discussion is at. And so, anywho, so I'd like to see a program like that implemented. And if I was in charge of California and could influence California to do something like this, I would, because I think it'd be a great way to try to plug people into a healthier, more logical welfare system and stuff. And so, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that I think that there's this unique kind of different choice than just welfare or no welfare.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to jump back on that one, because I fully agree with where you're at with it. But I do want to go back to the prison thing.
Yeah. Let's get back to it. Yeah,
real quick. So these men that are in there, I think, so there's already outreaches, programs, college programs, volunteers that come in and they put groups on and they do retreats. Like you can go to the chapel for the weekend, like little stuff like that, connecting us. Because when we first come into contact with people, it's awkward, with like free staff and stuff like that. So I think like bridging that gap right there before they get out of prison to like normalize their psyche and like all of this stuff. Because I don't care what anybody says, when you go to prison, you suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. It's you can't avoid it. It's unavoidable. And it really puts you in a weird, they call it institutionalized or whatever you want to call it. And that's what happens. And so like to ease that transition is to like ease free staff and people from the world to go in and hang out and like talk to these men. They're not all killers, man. Like we're all just in there trying to love on our families over the phone and through letters and trying to make better of ourselves. We're trying to put our lives back together. It's a devastating experience to get handcuffs thrown on you and to be plucked out of the world and thrown into a cell. And then surrounded by a bunch of men who are unpredictable. You don't know who they are, why they're there. There are some people you got to watch out for, but then there's a whole bunch that are just as harmless as teddy bears, dude. And so, yeah, I would say
I wasn't there that long, but I picked up on a few things. Like the guys that were in there and had been in there for a while, they played cards all the time and they had their little things that were literally little things that they could do to occupy themselves just to get through the day. Because like there isn't anything happening. There isn't any news. There isn't any events. There isn't any plans. There isn't anything. You're just there.
Yep.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's going on. And like the best that they had probably for you and for many other people is like they'll show Maury or, back in the day, Oprah or whatever, those kind of standard free TV shows and stuff, which is, that's something that's better than nothing. But on top of that, yeah, you have this constant awareness and alertness to everyone around you because you don't know who could and couldn't be a threat. You don't understand anyone's story. And more importantly, like, because I was only there for a little bit of short period of time, there was this one tweaker dude who was there who had been there for like 3 years on and off, you know, in and out. And he was like joking about like, yeah, when I get back out, I'll probably be out for like 3 weeks and come right back in. And it was because he's basically like, when you're conditioned like that, you're conditioned to listen, not think for yourself. Everyone tells you what decisions to make and when to make them and where you go.
Yep.
And you just have to sit there and just try to survive through it. Just try to keep your mental awareness and sanity through it. And that it would create PTSD straight up. Not only PTSD, but reprograms your, like, you can't make decisions for yourself necessarily the same way as if you were used to living your own life. And even like, what meal, where am I going to eat? What meal am I going to have now? Like stuff like that. If you're not used to making those choices, like I saw you had your little snacks and stuff. You were excited to get what you could, you know, that you didn't have on the inside. But even then, like, that's, you know, that's sort of like short term. It's different than, you know, 21 meals a week you got to plan out and stuff. So, and that, again, and that's like, most people would be like, well, that sounds really basic. It is. You're not given a really basic life. Your freedom, your life belonging to you is taken from you.
Yeah.
Like you're not in charge of yourself anymore. And it's a thing. So yeah, absolutely. Like, we got to understand that the people there have been through a certain trauma, even if you think they deserve to be there. It's a traumatic thing that they've gone through and getting there and coming out. And
you got to remember too, hey Jordan, you got to remember too, buddy, that a lot of us, like when we were in the lifestyle, we had homeboys, and that life don't go away. So when we come out and we got society, the ones that we're supposed to be getting back into groove with and getting familiar with and loving and being a part of, when they start rejecting us and the homeboys are still sitting there like, what's up, man? You know, they accept you with your brokenness, with your past, with your record, with your addiction, with your depression. They accept you with all of that. And it's with open arms, dude. And so if you got two groups in front of you, one telling you you're a scumbag, your record sucks, you ain't worth nothing. And then you got these guys saying, come on over, welcome. Here's some money. Here's a car. Here's fast women. Like, everything you want, we got it. Who's like, why would I want to be a part of this system that's spitting in my face the second I come out?
Yep. No,
and do
I
good
mean,
by
straight
them.
up.
And do good by them and be loyal. Why would I want to do that? That don't even make sense.
Yep.
So that's what I mean.
And and honestly, when you think about like wherever you were, it made you do what you were going to do to get into the system. If they just send you right back to the same people, the same neighborhood, and the same opportunities, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know?
True story, bro.
So it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, man.
Jordan, I got to run, my brother.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. Like, it's been an honor. Yeah, absolutely,
awesome
man.
Conversation, my brother. Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I'm happy everyone got to see, got to see this conversation and everything we just talked about. God bless you, sir. You have a great one, and we'll reconnect sometime. Peace.
Bless you in the name of Jesus.